Hey, it's Gloria.
Hi, I'm Britt.
Welcome to The Whispers, episode 2.
Episode 2. Woo!
Yeah, man. Okay.
It's 2.
Today's topic is going to be boundaries. So that's a can of worms that we're about to open up, y'all.
That is a can of worms we're about to open up.
Gonna be whispering in your ears. Here we go.
The whispers.
The whispers. All right, so we're going to talk about firstly understanding your boundaries. That's number one. Setting your boundaries. So once you actually decide on what they are, well, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Deciding actually what they are, setting your boundaries, and then implementing them. So, putting them forward with other individuals. And then lastly, we're going to talk about the comeback when people just disregard your boundaries, because that's a whole thing to figure out.
Worms, yeah.
So, Britt, you can go ahead and start off.
I'm not going to lie because of my ADHD. What's the first one?
The first one is understanding boundaries.
So understanding boundaries. When it took me a long time to understand what boundaries were and understand that they can't be crossed. And it took me a very long time to create boundaries. So understanding what boundaries are, it can be something as simple as like, hey, don't cross this line. Right. Even if it is a line in the sand, an imaginary line in your head. One boundary I can think of when I was younger is that like, hey, I'm not going to get physical with somebody unless we are in a relationship. So knowing that is a boundary that I stuck to it really hard when I was younger. But as time went on, I could see that men were definitely bending the boundary because I would say, hey, like, I don't get physical unless I am in a relationship, and then they be like, okay, well, be my girlfriend that same day.
But what brought you to that understanding of knowing like, all right, this for sure is something I don't want to happen anymore. So I need to put a boundary here. Like, what made you realize that?
I just thought that was just the way. Like, I think because my parents are married, I probably, and also I grew up again in the church. I thought like, yeah, you don't do stuff like that unless you are in a committed relationship.
Gotcha.
And that just came out of me just knowing that, not understanding that you can have fun, but you don't need to always have that type of boundary.
Right.
And as I look back on my teenage years and my young 20s, I can see that I definitely bent that boundary for people to be physical with me or basically me being naive to believe like, oh yeah, like you said I'm your girlfriend now, we can be physical. Like, it's not that easy. It takes a lot to actually get into a relationship. It's not just like, oh yeah, we're boyfriend girlfriend now. And that's one thing I did not understand. That was just one of my boundaries.
Gotcha.
Right. And then I have, other boundaries that I created for my parents, which are still worked on every day, but they're still there.
Yeah, still work in progress.
Yeah, they're still work in progress. So that's how creating boundaries is for me.
Gotcha.
And I'm still creating boundaries to this day. I will say that.
Of course, life ain't over.
Yeah, life is not over. Like, for example, with my partner now, I let him know that, like, love you to death, honey, but I want you to know my biggest boundary, which I will leave you on, is if you mess me up financially, if you put your hands on me, if you be mean to me or my children. And I think it was
mean in a disrespectful type of way?
Mean in a disrespectful way, like, or like, say you don't want to be with me anymore and you're just being mean to me.
Oh, like demoralizing and demeaning.
Yeah, like, say even if we go on a date, you're just unhappy on the date. I think that's mean.
Gotcha.
To me.
Right. And just don't go on the date. Like, why are you going?
Right. Like, say what it is so we can get it over with, but don't just tag it along. But I placed those boundaries down very early on in our relationship, and he respects them.
Awesome.
Right. But every time where I do feel like he is being mean, I'm like, hey, I hope you're not being mean to me, because I'm seeing this as being mean. And then he'll let me know, like, I'm not being mean. It's probably just my tone. I'll try to fix my tone. Like, he'll work with it.
Gotcha.
But what I have definitely known from being, I'll say it's 17 with somebody that's 24, those boundaries were broken all the time. He was always mean to me. And I realized,
was that one of the experiences that kind of helped you figure out that boundary?
Figure out that my boundaries were, one, being pushed, being broken, and that I said it, but am I pushing the boundary along? So that was what it was for me. But a lot of that of me learning what boundaries is came from that part of my life, and it came from a part of my life with learning about my parents understanding my boundaries as well. Like I said before, my dad now calls me and says I'm not trying to argue.
Right.
That's a boundary that I'm that he's not crossing that line anymore.
Right. And if you guys missed the first episode, we kind of touched base on that a little bit. So if you want, pause here, go back to the first episode real quick, just to get a little recap.
Well, even then I guess we'll tag it in the comments, time? Or we'll put it up in the corner, I guess.
Oh, okay.
For people to tag it or something. Cool. I don't know. So yeah, that's how boundaries were beginning to establish for me. So
gotcha.
Okay.
So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, what about
sharing that? Before we actually move forward, we actually forgot, but we are not licensed therapists.
Yes.
We have no legal license to provide any medications, any therapy services. We are just two adult women who have been living our lives and felt as though that we have experienced enough to share our experiences. And we're at a point where we feel as though sharing them will also help us in the healing process.
Right.
And really just help other people, women, men, avoid the bullshit.
Yeah.
Really, that's all it is.
And if you ever have a question, hit the email.
Yeah.
Or hit it in the comments. Understand that we will help you brainstorm issues, but we can't tell you what to do.
Right. So, definitely still go to your licensed therapist, take your medications, whatever you're doing, keep doing that. We're just here to give our little 2 cents.
Our little 2 cents. 30 and got something to yap about.
Yep. All right. So back to whispering.
Yeah, back to whispering.
For me, understanding my boundaries took a lot of time. I really didn't understand my boundaries until college. Like in college, it took, what was it? What would I say? It probably was a few classes that kind of triggered a few old memories of some trauma that I had been through that I'm not going to disclose today. That's a whole nother episode.
Actually, but sidebar, what was your degree in?
Oh, I got my degree in healthcare administration. I got my bachelor's. Yeah, so it was one random class I took. I honestly think it was my Hinduism class because I had to take a different type of class at that point in time. And we had touched base on something and it really triggered a memory. And I was just like, well, shit, right. That actually happened to me because my mind literally blocked it out and I didn't remember. And when I remembered, it was a complete mindfuck in my complete opinion, to where it was like, all right, okay, how are we going to get through this? And as time went on and the experiences that I've been through, I started seeing things that I didn't like. So it took for me to really be aware, like, oh, okay, this is something I don't like. This is something I don't like. I don't like this person saying this to me. I don't like this person doing this to me. You know, it took little small things to be brought to my attention and me giving it attention and not just pushing it away like, oh, well, you know, they didn't mean it. Oh, well, that's my sister. She didn't mean to say that. Oh, that's my dad. That's just how he is. It took me to be like, no, like I actually don't like that shit. And how do I stop it from happening? Go ahead.
You know what's crazy is that a lot of people don't know my dad is a sociopath or a psychopath, whatever. He has antisocial personality disorder. And all my years of growing up, I was always told that this is your dad. You have to understand. This is your dad. You have to understand. But like even my grandmother, who was my world, would say like, you know, your dad's just different. I get that he's different, but I also believe that my dad could change. Not change. I believe he could be better knowing that he has this issue.
Right. And he is now. You know, he's actually starting off the conversations, like you said.
Right. And it took a lot to get there. And to hear that statement you said, well, this is your dad. Yeah, I understand it's my dad, but I think he also can do better as my dad. Because at the end of the day, you're my first teacher.
And it's like everyone puts that stipulation, like, all right, okay, family comes first. You only got one family. That's just them. That's your brother. That's your sister. That's just how they are. But it's like well, not my family. No, we've all worked it out. I got all love for my family. You know, everyone's family dynamic is different. But it's just like, I didn't think that was fair. I was labeled as overly sensitive. I had trouble with expressing myself to where I would come off as if I had an attitude when I really didn't. I'm just trying to explain myself. So that was also a hesitation with me with even implementing, not even implementing, with trying to set my boundaries.
Okay.
So it took time to understand it, which revealed itself to me after college. Sorry, I misspoke. For me to understand my boundaries, it took life experiences. For me, setting my boundaries, it really took me acknowledging that what things triggered me, like what things make me mad, what things will really literally ruin my mood for the whole day. Mm-hmm. Like not little small shit, but it's just like big things where it's just like, yeah, like now I don't want to talk to nobody. Right. I want to just go in my room, whether it caused me to be depressed or gave me anxiety. I had to acknowledge that. So take your time, sit with yourself, and even give yourself a moment. Like say something just happened a second ago and you're out with your family. When you get time to go be alone, go sit and recap on that emotion. Like, well, what just happened here? Let me just replay that back in my mind. How did that make me feel? And then think about, okay, well, what could I have done differently? I could have said, oh, this is a topic I'm actually uncomfortable talking about, so I just am not going to go there. Right. If someone is still trying to talk to you about it, be like, okay, I'm just not going to comment because I already told you I'm uncomfortable talking about it. So I can give tons of examples, but the broad spectrum is to just give yourself grace to acknowledge each and every moment that you are feeling uncomfortable. Right. And that will help you figure out what boundaries you need to set. And when it comes to implementation, okay, that's a whole nother story because it depends on the person.
It does depend on the person.
It depends on the place.
And I will be honest and say, when it comes to me implementing my boundaries, I will say what my boundaries are. And then if you cross them, I'm not going to lie, I will be hostile.
I understand.
And I will be argumentative. I have no problem with being that. And I think a lot of people should understand, like, you're not me, but when I have been either disrespected from so long from you, or you have constantly tried to put something on me that's not me, I'm now going to be hostile.
Right.
And that happened maybe 5 years ago, where I think my mother's side of my family is starting to understand that, but also at the same time they're not, because they still make small comments. They believe my sister and I are spoiled, and we're not. It's just that, like, I don't want to say unfortunately, because my dad did what he had to do to provide for my sister and I, and my mother did as well. But after my dad and my mom separated, we struggled very hard. And my cousins believed just because my grandmother was helping taking care of us that we had money.
And that it resulted in y'all being spoiled.
And that resulted in us being spoiled. For example, my mother was 1 year stressing about not doing a tradition that we always do, which is stocking stuffers. And we realized, it's so cute. Every year she did it, even when I was a little before my sister was born. And this 1 year, it was Christmas Eve, and she was stressing about it. And we were like, hey, Mom, we were even saying days beforehand, you don't need to do this. We understand money is tight. Like, this is not something that we need. It's okay. And she was on the phone with my cousin and my aunt, and they were like, oh, y'all are so spoiled. And we were like,
in her moment of struggling and her being like, vulnerable enough to reach out, you're like, oh, you're spoiled? Was she?
Yeah, like my mom was already on the phone with them, and she was like, just like, I think she was venting.
Oh, okay.
And she was like, oh, I'm just still behind on Christmas. It's Christmas Eve. Like, we haven't done stocking stuffers. And Whitney and I were actually in the background because we were all in the car and she was on the phone. And we were like, hey, you don't have to do this. And my cousins were like, oh, y'all are so spoiled. And my sister reacted just like I reacted and was like, what do y'all mean by that?
Right. It's like, yeah, all families have different traditions, but just because this is your tradition and you can't do it and you're upset about it doesn't mean that you're spoiled.
We weren't even upset.
Right. With your mom.
My mom
with her
was
talking about it, but still it's like, I don't think that was called for them to say that.
Yeah. So then it got into the point where you could tell that they were envious or jealous because I was the first in my mom's side of the family to have my degree, and my cousin was like, well, you have a degree, you should know what spoil means. And I was like, what does that mean?
Right.
I was like,
it's like they're trying to throw shade at you.
Yeah. And it was like, you're trying to throw shade at me. And I was like, listen, Whitney and I are not begging her mom or telling her to do this. I was like, anytime my mother and I have argued, is for basic needs. Right now, a stocking stuffer is not basic needs to me.
Right.
So I don't have to argue. I'm telling her, like, you don't need to do this.
Right.
And you guys are sitting there trying to say that we're spoiled. So then it escalated to my sister saying, what's the issue here? Like, why are y'all acting like this?
And how did that relate back to the boundaries? Was that with your mom or with your family?
It was with my family.
Okay.
And my sister
I can't say that. Sorry. Was that with your mom or with the family that was on the phone?
With my mom, my family on the phone. My sister was like, you can't be mad at us because we have more opportunities. And my cousin took that as us feeling like we were better than them. And I was like, see, this is the boundary.
That's just the mindset that they're in. They seem to just take everything y'all say negatively. This is the boundary you have to play.
Don't speak on us. That's where it came. That's when it started. Don't speak on us because you don't know what's really going on over here. Right. I was like, you guys, just like the days you were hungry, we were hungry too.
Facts.
I was like, so understand that. Understand that. Don't speak on us. And they still try it when I'm not around. Say it's a family barbecue. My sister's around, they'll say a smart comment like, oh, your grandmother got you that car, or your grandmother helped fix your car.
And so the fuck, what if she did?
So
what's your point?
If she did, right?
What's your point? So, sorry, that pisses me off.
They will say that stuff when my sister's around, but then if I come around,
they won't say
everybody's closed lip.
Oh, okay.
Because I put the
so they know
right.
So they know, but they be trying it with the people that they know that they can get away with.
And I put the boundary down. Don't speak on us.
Exactly.
So you only want to speak on us when my sister's there. And I think that's weird. So that's still them pushing the boundary.
It is.
It's there when I'm around, but then if it's just my sister, because they're probably like, oh, you don't have backup. And that's weird.
It is weird. But I mean, like, those people prey on other people who they see are in a vulnerable, not even just a vulnerable space. Like, oh, her sister not around. Then, like, even if they're not even intentionally trying to be on that type time, that's how they come off. Like, y'all are adults. You should acknowledge what you're doing.
Right.
So in regards to... Sorry, that was just a crazy experience. I'm sorry.
It is because, like, listen, it took me years to have these boundaries with these individuals that I do call family. Right. Like, I love them with conditions, not unconditionally, and I had to learn that over time as well. But that was me placing boundaries of don't speak on me if you don't really know what's going on. Yeah. And they feel like they can because we'll probably have an argument and they think like, oh, our mom is telling the whole truth. She's not. She's not telling the whole truth. She didn't tell you the part where she said that she wanted to like abandon Whitney and I. Like, she didn't tell you all that stuff. So they're just speaking
they're speaking off of based with her side,
right?
But still disregarding what you're saying. So so it definitely is different when it comes to acknowledging boundaries with family members versus people that's not in your family or people that you just consider blood. Like for myself, one topic that comes up is with one of my ex-boyfriends that I had back in college. Early stages of college, he was verbally abusive. Like he just couldn't control his anger. Like he would just say anything out of his mouth. And I'm just like, why would you ever say that to me? Right. And at times it would be like, oh, I didn't mean it this way. That's not how I meant it. You're just being sensitive. Me and my boys joke about this all the fucking time. And I'm like, but I'm not one of your boys.
You meant it how you said it.
You meant it exactly how you said it. And I gave him so many chances to be like, all right, okay, this is you. I'm giving you the opportunity to learn me. I'm trying to give you the opportunity to get out of your habits, out of your ways, if you want to be in a relationship with me. I'm bringing to your attention, you should want to change. Well, to an extent, you should be considerate of how you're speaking to me. So not even, that probably happened a good 4 or 5 times. And the last time I was like, yeah, so I'm done. It was no explanation. I just returned all his shit. I said, because he lived with his family members at the time, and I said goodbye to his family members because they were so sweet. They were older individuals. I said goodbye to them, and it was just like, what happened? I said, unfortunately, he's very disrespectful, and it's too much for me. So it's like with him, I realized after I've said it a certain number of times, there's no need for me to keep explaining.
It is.
There's no need. That's the implementation. Figuring out what's your endpoint for people that's not my family members, that's not extra close to me. You don't get an explanation. That's just it.
Yeah, you really don't.
And it took a long time for me to do that because I'm like, no, I want them to understand. I don't want them to think I'm just dipping off. And I know some people got no problem. They will block immediately.
That's because you have a sense of care for this person.
I do. I'm just because I wouldn't want anybody to do that to me. Like I would want to know where I messed up. And if you do choose to move on, that's fine. But I had to realize that everybody does not deserve that.
Right.
If you are still saying fucked up shit to me, at random for no fucking apparent reason, and even about my family members, like, no, get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Like I'm leaving. There's no leeway with that.
Yeah.
So it's like sometimes you don't experience your boundaries until you actually get pissed the fuck off and you grow off. I've known some people that blacked out and got into fights, and then it was like, oh, I didn't realize that was going to trigger me like that.
Yeah.
It's like small experiences with friends, family, anything.
Especially when it comes to, I will say, significant others. The boundaries can be bent.
Oh my goodness, with significant. That's another topic.
So easily they can be they can be bent.
Yes.
And you don't know it until, I hate to say it, until it's too late.
Until it's too fucking late.
And then you realize like, oh, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Whether
if
it's a safety thing, or whether it's just like a mental thing. Like, so it's hard to realize the mind games that people play. And it's like, it could be something so tiny, so minuscule. And it's like, oh, but they keep doing it.
Right.
And they keep thinking that it's a joke, it's funny. And for me, I'll laugh it off because I'm just like, all right, okay, yeah, I know you playing, I know you joking. But inside I'm like, I really want you to stop doing that though.
So which is so crazy is that like my partner and I, we have this thing where the first time it's a joke. The second time it's like, okay, it's a joke. The third time you meant it. So we have definitely implemented that into our relationship. And I will say,
how did y'all do that? I need advice.
I'll give you. I'm
not in a relationship right now, but still, I would like to know going forward.
So what happened is that one day I called him a coon.
Oh, girl, why you call him that?
Straight to the point. I called him a coon, and he wasn't a coon, but he gave coon behavior at times, and I was like, "Yeah, you acting like a coon right now," and it was only because I didn't understand his political party, and I felt like it was coonery. All right.
Okay.
And it's not. He's a libertarian. He just believes indifferently to me. And I will say I am a Democrat, but also it's a little. I kind of sway a little bit.
Gotcha.
Not on the Republican side, but on the libertarian side. I sway a little
don't
bit.
Get into politics. I'm just like, listen, you treat me right, do the right thing.
Right.
If I disagree, that's it. It don't matter what side you're on for me. But go ahead,
right.
Gotcha.
So he just said, he was talking about something, and I was like, oh, that's just coon behavior. And then it was like, he was like, I'm not a coon, and we laughed it off. But then it was another time where I brought it up. I was like, that's coon behavior. I brought it up again. And
for the third time?
For the second time.
Oh, second, okay.
And then I brought up a third time, and then he was like, you think I'm really a coon?
Well, at least he
like immediately in the moment, he was like, you think I'm a coon?
Oh, man.
He was like, I'm going off of your logic. You said one time it's a joke, second time it's a joke, third time it's not a joke. He was like, so you really believe I'm a coon? Oh, and I was like, oh my God, you're right.
And then somebody else implementing their boundaries on you.
Right.
Oh, that's another part.
I was like, oh my God.
Right.
I was like,
acknowledging other people's
boundaries. I was
boundaries.
like, personally, I thought we were joking right now. And you know what? I will take that and be like, you know what? I am wrong. Because you're not a coon. I know you're not a coon. So from that day on, I was like, I will never call you that again.
And that's the consideration.
Yeah, I was like, I will never call you that again. I never want you to believe that. Because then he actually was vulnerable with me. And then he let me know that when he was younger, people used to call him that.
Oh, man. So that was like triggering.
That was triggering, and I didn't even know it until that moment. When he was like, yeah, like, I'm going off of your, like, how you do things. You mean it. And I was like, you know what? I don't mean that. And I had to let him know, like, hey, like, I'll never call you that again. And it's just so funny that he so funny the other day he he called me a coon, like playing around. And he was like, all right, I can't
right.
He was like, I can't do that if you can't call me that. He was like, so we won't use that word.
Understood.
So that's why I'm just like, that was a moment where he did that to me, and I was like, oh yeah, you're right. I was like, you're right. I was like, so we live by that rule of like, the first time it's a joke, the second time it's like, all right, it's a joke, the third time it's like, no, what you really mean by that? Right. Like, now tell me how you feel.
Okay. So yeah, I think we should now get into the topic of, should we be acknowledging other people's boundaries or the comeback?
Yeah, definitely acknowledge other people. Huh?
Okay.
Oh,
you said definitely what?
Acknowledge other people's boundaries.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's definitely what we're going to discuss next. Okay. So yeah, implementing boundaries. Funny thing is, another topic is popping up in my head with implementing boundaries. Just want to press on this for a minute. It took me a long time to actually implement the boundaries of me not wanting to smoke all of the time. Smoke weed in particular. That's the only thing I smoke. Weed and hookah.
I totally forgot you used to smoke.
Yeah,
or that you do smoke.
I used to smoke all of the time. And it was just a way to cope, honestly, with my anxiety and depression. I didn't realize it was a coping mechanism. But over time, smoking and drinking on occasion, I just didn't like how it was making me feel the next day. And I wanted to put a limit on it. And so doing that for myself on my own type time, especially like when I moved out, it was easy. I just didn't buy liquor. I just didn't roll up. I was chilling. But some of my friends would be smoking, or my family members would be smoking. They're like, oh, you want to puff? You want to drink? And it was such a social norm. It kind of felt like I can't say no. It never said that I couldn't say no, but it felt like that. And then also when I started to say, no, I'm okay, they're like, oh, why? Oh, you don't smoke no more? Like, oh, you don't drink no more? It was like the judgment. And I'm just like, I'm not saying that I think it's wrong. It's like, just acknowledge that I just don't want to do this anymore because of whether I'm working tomorrow or for whatever reason. And then it was also on the lines of, well, then why are you coming out if you don't want to smoke, if you don't want to drink? You know, this is what we do. Okay, it's like, well, why do I gotta?
Because I hate when people say, like, if you don't want to smoke and drink, why are you coming out? Right. To have a good time.
Right. Like, why can't I come out and just be fucking sober? Like, why can't I just have a soda or a juice or a drink, whatever I want to drink? If I want a tea or if a coffee, why can't I do that?
That was a boundary I had to implement with my friends too, because they smoke and drink a lot, and I have always been sober. Right. There's only a few times I've ever been high, and it was through edibles. Ah, gotcha. And I don't even drink either. Yeah. I've only been like drunk once.
Oh, well, lucky you.
Right. I know. So that's why I'm just like, and that didn't take a while. Once I told them like, hey, that's just not me. I will say sometimes they would push it and be like, oh, you should try it, and I just be like, that's just not me.
Right.
And then after a while, they realize like, it's just not Britt.
Gotcha.
She's just not doing it.
Yeah.
And it does, I will say it takes a while, but that was a moment of me implementing that boundary and then pushing it. Like, that's just not me.
Yeah.
Like, I tried it. It doesn't work for me.
Got you. It's like me understanding, like, I don't like how this is making me feel. So what do I need to do? I need to set a boundary, but like, if I'm going out with my friends, I'm going to sit with myself for a second and talk and be like, listen, I know they about to be over there smoking. I know they about to be over there drinking. And they care about me. They care about my opinion. They're not trying to be rude or pushy or anything. There's a whole other thing. If they are trying to be rude and pushy, then they're not your friends. For real. But for people who actually do care about your opinion, they can sometimes not understand the pressure of them being like, well, why not? Come on, let's just drink. And make it seem so casual. But for me and my health, it's like, it's actually not. It's actually very detrimental for me. It's going to make me have to do a whole mental reset.
Right.
So it was, right. So it was like, all right, understanding, I don't want to drink and smoke all the time. Only on occasion being socially. How do I set that? Understanding that I need to say it when I'm out drinking. I don't need to walk through the door, hey, y'all, I'm not drinking and smoking right now.
Right.
I don't need to do that. When the opportunity arises, be like, no, I'm cool. Then it's also the implementation. Go ahead.
I guess my question is, do you tell your friends, like, this isn't, like, I'm not doing this anymore?
Yeah, I do. I didn't have to say it like that. Okay. Luckily, it was more just like a few times I would gradually be like, okay, maybe I'll just have one drink. Then maybe I'll have half a glass. All right, now I'm only going to have a glass of wine. All right, now I'm just going to take a puff. I'm not going to smoke a whole joint.
Right.
And it took me gradually having to slow myself down with my normal behavior around them, and then tell them like, hey, actually, just to let y'all know, I don't want to do this anymore. And with the people who were more so surprised, it was like, okay, let me just give you a little explanation of why. And then if they came back, which not a lot of people did, if they came back and was like, well, like you were saying, like, well, what's the point of you coming out? I'm like, because I still care about y'all.
Yeah,
I still want to chill.
You can have fun sober, y'all.
Exactly. And then it was like, I had to really be, this was hard for me. I had to look within myself to be like, am I okay with them actually pushing me away if I don't want to? I have to be okay with that answer.
Yeah, so, because this might be something that they want to keep. Like, that might be the vibe they want to keep.
Right, exactly. Like, my vibe might not be their vibe. Right. Like, yo, am I about to lose a friend right now? Am I about to lose a sister or anything? So when I did that, I had to ask them, I'd be like, well, do you only want me around if I'm going to be drinking or smoking? And that, like, flipped the table to where they were kind of just looking at me like, oh no, but I get you saying, all right. And then now it's kind of like chill because that's just been the normal routine. But that was one other thing that I kind of wanted to touch on.
No, I definitely get that, because I feel as though my drinking and smoking boundary that I placed on myself, for me just always being sober, I can see myself bending it sometimes because I hate to say, like, I don't want to be a lame, but at the same time, I have come to realize, like, I can do these things socially. I'll never like smoke, but like a drink when we're at the dinner, I think should be something I should be doing.
I understand.
I will say
should
that.
You label it as should though, or could? I'm a strong believer of, like, you shouldn't say you should do anything.
I will say you should. For years, I have just always put on myself, I'm just not doing that stuff.
Gotcha.
And I think I also put the label on me not doing stuff is to be different. Okay. And it's like, this is just me.
Right. You put yourself in a box.
Yeah, like
the box didn't need to be that close.
But
tight.
I do think when I go out with my friends, like if I have dinner with you, Jay, and like Tyler, I think I should have a drink then.
Gotcha.
Because this is a social event where I should be doing it. I just won't be but and also I don't go out socially a lot either. I don't go out socially a lot either. So I think I should be doing it. So that's me bending my boundaries probably for myself.
Gotcha. And that's okay.
So
it's okay for you to bend your boundaries for yourself, not for anybody else to make you comfortable. And it's like also reevaluating your boundaries as you get older with certain people. It's like you said, I don't have to just not drink every time. I actually could. And I should when I'm being social if that's the mood that I'm in. Like with me, I don't have to smoke every single time. But if I know I'm not doing that the next day, okay, let me take a hit. Let me just, vibe out with my friends. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's I think one thing I had to like learn for myself is like, all right, you got the boundary that you're not going to do these, but let's bend it a little bit in a good, I will say in a good way.
Right, like see how much you can ease up on yourself.
Yeah. Like I think the issue is that I've always been in control of everything that has done for me. Everything has always been planned out, and I've always been in control since a younger age.
Same here, man.
Because nobody else was doing it. At a very young age, I had to be an adult. So when I finally got to that age,
we will be talking about that too, y'all.
Right. When I finally got to an age where I could probably like not have that much responsibility, which is just small as just going to dinner with my friends. I think I should be able to have a drink there. I think my main worry was like, all right, I have a drink. What if my sister was to call me and she needs my help immediately?
Right. Like
and I'm not there.
That's a lot of pressure for people.
Yeah. So that's where my thoughts always went. And then I realized like, hey, my sister is 20, like 18, 19, 20. She got it.
Right.
So it took a while for me to realize like she got it. So that's how I like implemented the boundary, but bend it a little bit in a way, but in a good bend. It's not like a bad one.
Got you. So yeah, it's like boundaries are supposed to be in place, honestly, so you can live your best life to your fullest.
I will say bending the boundary the worst way is me taking shots.
Okay, got
repeatedly with friends, knowing that like I probably got this person that's gonna call me for an emergency. No. But I think me having at least one drink socially is enough. That should be enough to say like, oh yeah, she out here, she having fun.
Right.
I don't need that multiple. So
gotcha.
Yeah, that's how it goes. It's just because it's just so. I will say, what people don't say is that it's hard to find what your boundaries are and then to put them down and then to push back on it when need to, because every day somebody is going to try your boundaries.
Every day, not even on malicious intent, just because maybe they're just being casual. It's like you got to help people learn you for real.
Yeah.
The best part I found about implementing my boundaries was when other people actually were saying my boundaries for me. I'm like, oh yeah, Gloria, don't do that. And I was like, oh, you know me. You understood. I feel so seen. Like it makes me happy to see that. And I'm like, yo, but looking back on it, like I've grown. I've actually was able to implement that boundary and people now respect it and understand it and see me for it. I was like, all right, hey, we get an A in that area, you know?
I definitely get that. Like definitely seeing other people implement them for you as well is great. So
boundaries right now.
Yeah, I know boundaries is a big thing, guys. keep them with you.
Yeah,
keep them with you. Keep them strong. And I will say, don't let no man or woman,
nobody, or dog,
your mom, your dad, not even your dog. Like no, seriously, I even got a boundary with my dog. Don't look me in my face. Homie does not do that.
Got you.
Even if you got to put a boundary there, put the boundary down.
Fix.
So that's why I'm just like.
That reminded me of a picture that I saw. It was of two kids laying on the ground. They were facing each other, and there was like a line drawn in between them. And they were looking at each other. They was like, "Oh, you draw such beautiful boundaries." And they were like, "Thank you, I've been practicing." I was like, "That's just the cutest thing." But be easy on yourself with it. Like, don't be beating yourself up if you slip on your boundaries or if you missed it, because nothing's perfect. We're not here to be perfect. We're here to just learn.
Yeah, but don't let nobody push your boundaries to then where you're in this situation where you're like, oh shit.
Right, unwanted situation.
Yeah. I will say when I was younger, I got myself in a lot of unwanted situations because I didn't push the boundary of like just no. And I understand it's hard for a lot of people to say no.
Learning your no.
No can come in very different ways. It can be straight no, or it can be like, yeah, I'm not really feeling it.
Yeah, like, oh, not today. Maybe another time.
Yeah, another time. You don't have to just say a straight no.
Saying no is almost, for me, what I remember, it was like a knot in my throat. Like I felt like I was betraying something. I don't know.
Because I think the feeling is, if I say no, is this person still going to like me?
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. And then you realize, like, I can say no, and this person still wants to.
I feel that. And there's also
like me
to acknowledge, like, oh, I actually want to be liked. You know, like that's the thing too. That's like you got to realize, and it's like
everybody wants to be liked. Even if people say like I don't want to be liked, everybody wants to be liked
or seen and just understood. That's all. You ain't got like me.
Yeah.
But let's understand.
No, you ain't got to like me, but you will respect me.
Yes, exactly.
I have no problem letting somebody know that one. But people don't know me. You go low, I'm gonna go to hell. And you don't want me to go to hell.
Yo, I have learned that lesson. It's like, you know what? I know that I'm a quiet person. I'm very observant. But when I snap, and it's for a reason. I don't got nothing to say because you already know what you fucking did. That's it. So it's like, try to learn your boundaries before you even have to get to that point. The best you can. Now, understanding other people's boundaries. And acknowledging them. Yeah. It's like, so the example you had gave with you and your partner, he told you, he was like, oh, so you actually do think this. And then he gave you his trauma. And you were like, okay, well, now I understand that this is something that I can't say. And you guys both like agreed that, okay, this is something that we want to put in place for us, for the better of the relationship. So I think that when it comes to that, it should be the same for everyone. The same way you would want someone to acknowledge your boundaries, do that for the other person. You ain't got to agree at all. And it don't got to be fair either.
I'll even give you a nice sweet one.
Go ahead.
My grandmother, when I was little, and I was 18, just freshly driving around, my dad too, used to like just be driving around. We used to just pop over my grandmother's house all the time. And one day she was like, y'all gonna text and call before y'all come over.
Yeah, I was raised to
and
do
I was
that.
like, oh.
Awful.
I was like, oh, okay. So every time before I come over, I now text and call. Because I was like, you know what? She right. This is her space. Like, she's an empty nester now. We're not around.
Oh.
We should be texting and calling. So now my dad actually texts her before he comes over too.
Gotcha.
But even though she said the invitation is always open for you to come over, but still text and call me first. And that's just that's a simple.
I feel the same. Boundary
she
way,
implemented
honestly.
on us. Right.
I feel the same way. Crazy part is on my grandma's side, on my mom's side of the family, it's not like that. My mom, she always tell me, "Girl, if you don't stop asking, just come over." And I'm like,
on my mom's side, it's like that too. You don't have to ask.
I always text. I'm like, can I come over? And she just be looking at me like, how dare you ask if you can? Of course you can.
Yeah, my grandmother's house, it's an open policy door too. As long as you ain't coming over at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, but my dad's side of the family is like, yeah, no, don't pop up ever. We don't do that.
No, I believe in that too.
Right.
Don't just pop up on my set because that's a problem.
Got you.
Yeah, text me before you come over and knock on this door.
Right.
It got to be an emergency.
Right.
Before you just show up on the doorstep. I got to not be answering the phone.
I hear that.
It got to be a wellness check on my body.
Not a wellness check.
Yeah, I'm so serious. It got to be a wellness check before you knock on that door.
Another small thing I had to implement was with my dad, actually. So it was like a back and forth thing with him. Me and him have, since I've become an adult, I guess you can say, and he realized like, all right, I'm giving you my opinion now. And it's not like you're just going to tell me to be quiet. I'm not going to say nothing. It's like, no, I'm grown. I'm going to give you my opinion, whether you respect it or not. Of course, I'm going to say it respectfully. So since being an adult, me and him, I love my dad to death. He's my ride or die. I would do anything for him any day, anywhere, anytime. But we clash so much with a lot of our opinions, with how we speak to each other, because it's just like how I talk and how he talks is a little bit different, and how he likes to show his love. I've realized is not the best way for me all of the time.
That's fair.
So, like for example, like he always raised me, be aware, know your surroundings, and that's exactly how I've been. Like I don't be walking outside with headphones on. Like no, if I do, I got one in, and I'm constantly looking around me to know where I'm going. But he took it to the point where he was sending me news feeds every day, early in the morning.
What?
And it was out of care because he wants me to know what's going on in the neighborhood. And I'm like, Dad, I totally respect that. But in the morning, do not send me these. Because one, I'm always going to look at it because you're texting me. I want to make sure you're cool. Secondly, I value my mental state of health. I cannot watch the news. I cannot watch the news in the morning. even the Citizens app gave me anxiety. It's
Yeah, I
going
don't
off
got
all
that.
day.
Yeah.
6 people got killed. Somebody got raped. Somebody dies. A car accident. I was like, I am living in a ball of anxiety. I cannot.
Yeah, when I'm on the phone with my partner, he'd be like, "Oh, somebody got stabbed like 6 miles
and
away."
I'm like,
I'd be like,
no.
why are you telling me that?
I have to give myself the time and the space to be in that state of mind. Like, all right, okay, something happened. Let me tell you if I'm open to receive the information. Don't just be jamming shit at me.
But also, we live in Philadelphia.
Very true. So
there's
shit
crime
be
every
going
day.
on. Right.
Come on,
I mean, I don't even know about everything. I really don't. Unless it's a family member, of course. But it's just like he took offense to that because he felt as though I was rejecting him. Oh. And it didn't even come out like that at first. He was just pissed and not talking to me anymore. And I'm like, what the fuck happened? Like, just because I said don't send me this in the morning, like, you could send me it in the afternoon. Okay. But I had to put boundaries like, hey, in the mornings, don't send me anything negative unless it's like an emergency, because it, like, healing from depression and anxiety, I had to realize I have to set boundaries for my mental space. I don't want to think about that in the morning unless I really fucking got to. So that was hard. And he told me that, hey, it felt as though you were rejecting me. Okay. And
I like that he was able to express that, though.
Oh, it took a minute. No, I mean, it took a while. Our communication is getting better. But I kind of had to pull it out of him after a few arguments. I'm like, what the fuck is up? And he was kind of just like, he's not used to me being an adult, like me telling him what he can and cannot do for me when it's out of love. Yeah. So it was like, okay, I had to acknowledge, like, all right, this is how he shares. This is how he protects me. This is how he, gives his love. And I had to figure out how to accommodate his boundaries with mine so that I'm not offending him, because I don't want him to feel that way. But he needs to understand what that meant for me. Yeah. So
now with my dad, I'm not gonna lie, I just don't even answer the text messages.
Hey, I understand, because you and him have that relationship.
Because, like, he sent me, like, I think something about Republicans or Democrats the other day, and I was like, I'm not getting into this with you. like understandable, my dad is a Black African man, but he's a Trumper. Like, and he tries to always play devil's advocate because he knows it will get a rise out of people, because one thing about him is that he likes to see your reaction.
Hey, gaslighter.
He likes to see your reaction, and he'll just send off the wall things. So I have blocked him from a few family chats, so I don't get his text messages, because it's just like, bro, you're trying to get a rise, right? And I don't want to always be in a
What's the blocking?
Right. Gotcha. And now he know what it is when I don't answer.
Now, did that feed back into you acknowledging his boundaries, or was that more so of just yours?
I think that was just mine. Okay. Because I don't know what his boundaries are. Okay. I think his boundaries true. Well, I take that back. I do. My dad believes that he's the father, like, and I'm the child, so I need to just listen. And that's not the case. Right.
So this part is when other people are giving you their boundaries and you don't agree. Yeah. So it's like, not agree. Yeah.
Not agree. I'm just not engaging with you, because I know what you're doing right now.
Right. Don't engage in that.
And what you're doing is you're trying to get a rise out of people. Like, for example, my grandmother and her siblings, who are older, 70, 80, they don't like to hear news that has anything to do with back in the past with the riots and stuff like that. And one day he sent an article about civil rights, and I was like, see, like, what are you doing? Right. So I had to block him, because I was like, you're doing too much right now. Like,
after they clearly told him that, he's still just like, I'm just
like, when I was little, he used to tell me that my grandmother did not like this time period. Don't bring this time period out. And now we're older, and here you are bringing it up. And I was just like, yeah, see, this is why I'm okay with blocking you. This is why I'm okay with not answering texts. Gotcha. But I will answer a phone call from you, but I will not be answering texts from you, because it's ridiculous.
I hear that. Okay. Understanding what line of communication works best for you with other people too is a way to implement boundaries. Like, for me, I know, and this isn't even nothing like serious or major, it's like, I don't like texting all the time, and I don't like talking all the time either. It depends on the person. Like, for certain people in my family, I'm like, yeah, don't call me, just text me, because it'll go into a whole whirlwind of things on the phone, and I'm just like, I don't want to even put energy out to get you off of the phone, because I have a hard time being like, okay, I don't want to talk anymore.
I'm ready to go. I will say, for me, I was a big texter. I hate being on the phone, but I will say I have definitely changed that a little bit, because my partner loves being on the phone. He loves talking and everything. So it's like, all right, I can do that for you.
Gotcha.
But when somebody else called me, such as my mom, or like such my mom or dad, it's like, what do you need? What do you want? So I can get off the phone with you. Because most of the time, it's nothing important.
Gotcha.
Like, but for my sister, I'll be on the phone with her for hours because I'm assuming it's something important. And then if it's not, that's fine too. Because her and I talk every day. And the one thing I was taught from my father is that you'll always have your sister. That's it. Nobody else, but you'll always have your sister. And I was like, that's true. Right. So that's why I feel like that connection with my sister is like very serious. But the boundaries that I have had to even place with my sister before is there too.
Placing boundaries with the closest family members is difficult.
So like that I will say is difficult too. And it wasn't too much of a boundary. It was more like, hey, like you're getting older, you got to figure something out. Like you got to figure these things out. Like I can help you brainstorm, but you got to figure out how you're going to do it so you can try to start calling me less and less.
Yeah, so. I think I definitely hear you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing that. You talking about the boundaries with your sister made me think about my grandfather. Now, my grandfather he's up there in age. He's in his 80s. And I've spent the majority of my life in his house because that's just my childhood home. Okay. So I technically kind of feel like my grandfather and I are the closest, but not the closest. On my dad's side of the family, at least. Even closer than my dad, no offense, because I live with my grandfather more. And implementing boundaries with him and understanding his boundaries is a whole nother problem. Okay. Because he's was not raised here. He was raised in Angola, so he's African. Oh, okay. So he has different morals, different values. I don't want to get into all of the things he is and all the things that he likes.
I mean, having foreign parents,
it's another thing.
It is another thing.
And it's like with him, it's not even like he's giving me his boundaries and I have to understand them. It's kind of just like, no, my boundaries with him is literally avoidance, just avoiding that topic entirely. There's no leeway. There's no in the middle. And it's like, I wanted to acknowledge that not like with every person in your life, there's going to be different boundaries. Like we were talking about, there's the boundaries with how you communicate with them. There's the boundaries with whether it's your mom or your sister. And then there's boundaries also with older individuals because they don't play that. A lot of the older generation, they're just like, yeah, all of this new shit that y'all talking about, space and boundaries, fuck that. Like it's what I say. And with him, he wasn't saying it like that, but nothing was sticking and it was always causing conflict. So for individuals that you guys may be dealing with that are like that, it's kind of just like avoiding the topic entirely is just the way to go. That can be your boundaries, just complete avoidance.
I can see that.
Because it's like you're in a repetitive cycle. You try and try and try again, and it's giving you the same result. Whether that's annoyance, whether that's a fight, whether that's being sad. It's just like there's no win.
Yeah, and trying to, I guess, be progressive with somebody that's older is very difficult because they think that like this is the way that I grew up, this is the way you should grow up. But if we look back on sometimes, you can see that the way y'all grew up, most of it was abuse
and based on survival at the time. Like y'all parents did the best that they could with y'all, with the means that they had, with the knowledge that they had. We're in a different day and time to where it's like, so we know that's traumatic. We're trying to break this generational curse here. Let's not do that. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Like with my dad, like he's like, I keep forgetting you're an adult now. This is new for me. And that's all he says all the time.
Forgetting, this is new for me. Kind of a wild statement to say. Listen. Because like when you when you think back when you were 30, bro, you probably was doing whatever you wanted to do. So to say I keep forgetting that you were, and you know what? That might be because I don't have children that I can say that statement. Because I don't know. I think due to how I was raised, once I turned 18, my dad wasn't worried about nothing. Yeah.
I can understand that. I feel like my dad wasn't worried about anything, but in a sense where it was like he knew I was good, but I still needed him, you know?
Yeah,
he was more so doing his own thing at that point. Because I feel like he was more so, all right, okay, I can kind of get back to my life now. Get back to what I gave up. Yeah, not in like a fucked up way. Like a lot of people say that, I gave up my life for my child. And I'm just like, okay.
See, I just wanted to let him. My dad didn't give up no type of life.
Got you. I just wanted to just let him be, just let him do what he do. I'm like, all right, I'll be all right. I was used to being by myself. Yeah. So because that was about to get to a whole other topic. Okay. My fault. I was about to.
We got topics. I
was about to go left. We do. This don't gonna last a minute.
I get it. But please, y'all, stick to your boundaries.
Stick to your boundaries. Yeah, understand them, set them, implement them, and acknowledge other people's boundaries, but also figure out what you're going to do when someone doesn't respect your boundaries. Exactly. Respectfully and disrespectfully.
Are you going to be like me? You going to get a little hostile?
Are you going to beat their ass?
Or are you going to like be like, all right, I'm just not going to talk to you.
Right. You're going to walk away.
And I will say, which I should have mentioned, is that like I can be hostile, but also at the same time, if you break my boundary in a certain way, I'll just stop talking to you.
I understand.
And like it won't be a discussion or anything. It's an immediate like, today is our last day of talking and you don't even know it. Oh. And that has happened at least for 2 of the friends I've had.
Oh man.
It's just like you thought,
and it was something that they knew that they shouldn't have said or done.
It was something where I felt like they knew better.
Okay.
They knew better, and they decided like when we do like episode on friends, I'll definitely talk about that. But it was one of those, you knew better than to do that, and you decided to take somebody else's side, and now you know what? I see the side that you picked. I have to head on out. I have to leave. I just have to leave.
And that's hard too.
And I'm not going to have a conversation like a closure conversation with you to say like why.
I try so hard to get closure, but sometimes you can't get it.
I feel like closure isn't always needed because they did what they did and they meant it. And it's like, why do I need closure for that?
Right.
It's only recently where I had to actually tell a friend that I don't wish to be friends with them anymore. It was only recently because they thought that I was this nasty person and I wasn't.
You're not nasty.
Yeah. They thought I was telling their business to somebody and I wasn't. And I now have come to find out that they have BPD. And BPD is borderline personality disorder. Sorry, y'all. But I've now recently found out that they have that. And I realized I just can't be friends with somebody like that. And I want people to understand is that like, just because somebody is mentally ill or not right or they can't get with the program, understand that you don't have to take less.
Right, you don't.
And I think a lot of people don't understand that they don't have to take less. Your boundary can be, I can't be friends with somebody like that.
And it's not even always just being considered taking less. It's like, you're not a bad person for being like, yeah, no, I can't.
I suffer from anxiety already and depression and, you know, autism, ADHD, OCD, whatever. I have all those. I don't need to take on your baggage too. I don't have to put myself in that space where I have to always give you attention or anything.
Right. Internal boundaries.
Yeah. So I had to, because it was just better for me. So then I let her know like, hey, I just can't be friends with you anymore.
Gotcha. Let's talk more on that. Because we talked about more so acknowledging your external boundaries with other people. What about the internal boundaries that you have with yourself? Like not like you're telling yourself, hey, I know that I can't be friends with this person. What happens in that conversation with yourself? Like, hey, should I still be friends with them? Can I let this go? Like talking with yourself and acknowledging your boundaries with
that conversation happens within split seconds.
Right.
And I will say it happens within split seconds because I've already probably had a notion in my brain that I'm starting not to like what you're doing. And then it was just like, all right, that was the tipping point that you did something like this. For example, the friend that I'm talking about, she thought that I was talking to her mom because we all worked at the same workplace. She thought I was speaking to her mom about her business. And I left that workplace 2 years ago and she randomly texted me, asked me if I was speaking to her mom about her. Girl, we don't work at the same place anymore. Why would I be speaking to your mom about you? Also, you and I don't even speak.
Damn.
I'm serious. We had a whole group chat and I stopped like talking in the group chat because every time it was something with her. And I was like, I don't want to be bothered with this. Why would I then go and be like, you know, I should definitely tell your mom about what's going on?
Yeah, that's weird.
So I told her like, I don't like the behavior that's going on in our friendship. So this friendship needs to end. And
a lot of that I think stems from the environment that they're around. Those are the people that you be around, that you're used to, how you was raised. I'm not with that. I was raised to be a thorough individual, and the people around you need to reflect your values in some sort of way.
And it was a long time coming for me to end that friendship. I probably should have ended it sooner, but once you start putting things on me.
Lies.
Yeah, lies. Yeah, I gotta go. It's not. I'm not meant to be here. Especially when you do a lot of attention seeking behavior. I gotta go. Like, for example, this woman was a nurse, and for anybody, well, I mean, I don't mind being vulnerable. I had to have an abortion, and I had it, did it, whatever. So now that's like not a touchy subject for me, but it's like not something that I'm like 100% okay with that I had to do it, but I did it, right? Years for me and this woman is now friends, and she's a nurse, and she was asking me for abortion advice. Girl, you're the nurse,
right?
And I feel like she was only doing that because I wasn't engaging in the group chat at the time, because she was talking about her abortion in the group chat, and I wasn't engaging. So she decided to text me separately, asking me about my experience with my abortion, and I just was like,
yes.
I was like, call your doctor. Right. Like that was my first text, my last to her. Call your doctor. I was like, because I can see this as attention seeking behavior. Call your doctor.
That's not a topic to be discussing if you're coming with that energy.
So right, yeah, I get that.
Abortions are a touchy subject for me as well. But it was just like, yeah, no, if y'all not even that close, and then she's coming at you with.
I think the issue is she thought we was that close. Oh, actually, I will say at one point we were, because she knew we all shared our our information, friend wise. But after a while, I started to realize like, oh, it's something not right with you. So I started texting less and less in the group chat, and I think she noticed it, and she was getting attention from our other friend, and I think she didn't want attention from me.
Got you, but you had to lay down.
But I was like, I had to lay that down. Like, hey, that ain't it. And on that particular day when I stopped being friends with her, she was going off in the group chat and I wasn't answering. So that's when she decided to get attention from me by asking me a wild question of, hey, are you talking to my mom about me?
So that was the second time.
That was the second time. That was like,
didn't we just fucking discuss this one?
That was the second. No, that was the first time.
Not you. Like, that's what I would have said to her. Like, didn't we just freaking go through this? Don't even matter. No, I don't want to talk to you. Why are you messaging me?
I don't know.
Should have blocked her ass.
I don't know. Well, after I told her like, hey, this friendship is non-existent anymore.
Right.
That's when I blocked her on everything, because I was just like, it's no reason for me to talk to you, because I really do believe that you're sick and you need to seek some help. And that was a boundary that I put down. That was me having to implement that, of saying like, I don't want to be friends with you anymore, because before I used to just ghost. I used to just ghost and then let you figure it out later. Right. But in this particular time, I felt like I did need to respond, because now you talk about my character, and that's not my character. Right. And you should know better. As my friend, you should know better that I wouldn't talk to your mother. Right. I wouldn't talk to your mother about you. Right. For you to go and do that was kind of crazy to me. And I realized, like, and I even texted our other friend and was like, hey, I'm ending my, like, immediately in that same breath, I was like, I'm ending my friendship with such and such. And she was like, all right. She was like, I'm not really too shocked that this is happening.
She knew it. She saw it coming.
Yeah. Because I was just like, it's no point for me to be friends with somebody because you want attention. Yeah. And the last thing you should want from me is attention. Yeah. Go talk to your man that's cheating on you.
So, yeah. Oh, Brittany.
I'm sorry.
Be nice.
I don't care.
So, yeah, them external boundaries all start with internal conversations with yourself, though, you know? It's like you got to realize what you can and can't do for yourself, or what you can and can't tolerate.
Like, also seek help. If you need help with somebody telling you what your boundaries are, seek a medical professional.
Medical professional. Ask your friends. Don't ask your family members. That's what I recommend.
Well, I don't even know if you should ask your friends, because sometimes your friends don't even have your best interests. I think you should ask.
If you trust your friends to that point,
right?
And if you trust your family to that point, I'll say that.
Okay,
but in my personal opinion, I wouldn't ask my family about my boundaries, because they don't really know me as well as you. Right. This is fucking y'all fault. Yeah, like, y'all are part of my trauma. But it's like, I wouldn't think that it would be in my best interest to ask them, because they've known me since I was a child, and they have their own idea about me from just seeing me grow up. So it wouldn't be really from a place of knowing me personally. Like, my friends, they know all my inner secrets. Like, they know the feelings I have about certain things. And it's just like, I feel like they're the best people to see it, because they see the real side of you. Right. But if it's vice versa for anybody, go to those people, or like you said, medical professional.
Right.
Because it's like whoever you're comfortable with, they can give you they should be able to give you the honest truth. And like with a lot of my friends, I even had to ask, like, oh, well, like this is like a little side note, like I wanted to make sure that I wasn't overstepping my boundaries with my relationship with my partner at the time versus my relationship with my friendship. Like, hey, like, do you guys feel as though, I don't know why it popped in my head, but I was like, hey, do you guys feel as though I act different when they're around, or have I been avoiding you guys, this, that, and the third? And they said no, but it was just like I still wanted to know. Like I wanted to be considerate. I think that's going to
be new for me because I've never actually had a partner that would be around my friends. Like, yeah.
Understood.
Yeah, not at all. Like I would be around their friends, but like they weren't around my friends.
Yeah, it's a bit to get used to. Yeah. To be honest, like my recent partner was really the only one that came around like that. My first one was years ago, like in the beginning of high school, and that was a lovely relationship for what it was. But as an adult relationship, it was different because it's like I also have to see how you act around my friends.
Right.
Like, do I like the behavior that I'm seeing, the energy that you're giving? Are you being honest? Because my partner at the time, he would be lying all the time to his family, and I'm like, don't be lying to my friends because I'm gonna tell them the truth, and they're gonna know you bullshitting. Because we don't do that.
You're like, is that really the truth, sir?
It's not really the truth. Like, are you sure?
Is that really the truth?
You want to amend that statement? You know, so it took a couple conversations with my friends to really help me with that, honestly, because it was like I know that this is not an area I'm familiar with. I'm not about to act like I know. I'm not about to act like, oh, I'm just gonna do it on my own and figure it out as I go along. I'm like, no, other people's feelings are involved. I value my friendship, so I need to see how you act. I need to see what my friends think, and then I'm going to implement boundaries based off of that. And internally, I had to tell myself, okay, am I going to ignore it if I see it? Some little small shit? Like, do I really want to, am I really ready to
I will say is that my ex, he was a narcissistic asshole. And he could fake being the best boyfriend in the world. But only like my friends would know the true story of what was going on. Right? So that's why I'm like, that's like, oh yeah, like they don't know, like I know what's going on, they know what's going on, but you acting like you're like the best guy in the world, and really you're not.
That's hard to deal with.
Yeah,
you're trying to get into that relationship though.
Yeah, I was like, listen, getting out of that thing was not. Getting out of that was easier than I thought it would, and it was a moment of me not being scared anymore.
Awesome.
To say what it is, to say like, hey, being with you, all I felt is pain, and it's time for me to head on out.
Yeah, bro.
And he tried to manipulate that to say like everything with us wasn't pain. So then I was like, you know what, you're right. I was like, it was good times for small moments.
Yeah.
And I still doubled down on it. I was like, for small moments, but it was pain.
Right. Let me acknowledge your feelings real quick.
Yeah, I think not. Yeah, sure. But yeah, I gotta head on out. And that same person tried to like dictate how I was gonna end our relationship as well. When it came back to like giving him his stuff and everything, he was like, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna overnight your sandals and your underwear and all this in a box to you. And he was trying to tell me, send it the regular way. You can't tell me what to do.
Right.
So now I'm gonna overnight it.
Yeah. Now I'm really gonna fucking overnight it.
Yeah, now I'm really gonna overnight it. Because like that's you trying to
be
still
controlling.
Yeah. And I was like, no, now I'm overnight it.
Nope.
And now once you get your stuff, don't contact me again. Only contact me if it don't show up.
Got you.
Other than that, homie contact me saying it showed up. Right. He did contact me saying it showed up, and I was like, good for you.
Right, great. Bye.
Yeah. And then try to have a conversation after that. No responses. What? I'm serious. That's what. Yeah.
No, I'm laughing because it's just like, yeah, you thought you was about to have a fun conversation.
Yeah. And you're not. No, it's going. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Go to hell. I'm sorry.
You ain't gotta say sorry. Fuck that nigga.
Like, go to hell.
Oh,
that's what I be telling people. So here we are.
Here we are.
At the end of the whispers.
We hope that you guys have been able to really just understand where we are coming from. Again, we value everyone's opinion, everyone's experiences. We don't discriminate here, but we are sharing our story. These are our emotions, our feelings. And if you have any questions, feel free to send us a message.
All right. So yeah, that's the whispers.
Yeah.
Hopefully you didn't hear my grandma call my name. But yeah, can't wait to see you guys next week. I hope everybody has a safe and wonderful week. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be here for you every
week.
One random day of the week. Once we pick a day, we'll be here.
We were supposed to record yesterday, but I was not feeling well.
But that's fine. We're working it out. This is the beginning, right? The beginning to many episodes
to then help heal some hearts out there,
right?
Y'all.
And we're here at episode 2. At episode 100, we're going to be completely different.
Oh, really?
That's the goal.
So. Hope the anxiety will get away from it. But leave a heart in the bottom if you related to anything that we said. Anything at all.
Stay around. Stick around. Please, again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
Right. Bye.
Remember, this is The Whispers.